Sup everyone, we're back with more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Now it's time to see what Sholmes has for us. So this is where the great detective makes his living. It feels surreal to be here somehow. Oh, whoa, we didn't see that last time. Is it as described in the stories, Miss Susato? Look at all this stuff. Susato-san? It's like a steampunk dream utopia. Over on the left there.
Many famous cases have been solved here in this very room.
Oh, I suppose they must have been, yes. I've never read the story, so it's hard to get quite as excited about it as she seems to be.
The detective chases the villain relentlessly as he disappears into the fog down an unlit London street. Oh, the thrill of it, the romanticism. Can't you feel your heart thumping in your chest? Can't you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, I suppose I can, yes.
So, if you don't mind, I'll just stand here and soak up the atmosphere for a while longer. Please, don't mind me.
She's obsessed. Are we gonna see actual Sholmes here? We gotta look around for him. What, is he gonna be hanging off of furniture or upside down on a couch or something? Well, it looks like our detective friend isn't home at present. Excuse me, is anybody home?
Oh, do we have a visitor?
Wait, you? Ah, shoot, what type of voice did I give you? I know it was high-pitched, probably, because you're a girl, so...
Hello. Is it a big new case for Mr. Sholmes?
Hello. Wait. Aren't you...
Oh, how rude of me. I'll go and make some tea at once.
I'm sure it's the same girl. Mrs. Sato, did you see the girl who was just here?
Oh yes, isn't it truly extraordinary? To think that the King of Bohemia came to this very room to ask Mr. Sholmes to take on his case.
The King of Bohemia?
King Wilhelm Gottsrick Sigismund von Ormstein. King William Gottsreich Sigismund von Ornstein, of course.
Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I don't blame you. There's like 5 names to read in that one name. Forget the adventures of Herlock Sholmes for a moment and look over there.
The tea's brewed, and I have a freshly backed cake as well. Ah, it's you!
I knew it. Susato-san recognizes her too. Yeah, it's the person that outgunned Gina. The person that outgunned her and forced her to come along.
In taking that with you as well, I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, good day to you. I'm, well, the inventor, I suppose, of that machine.
It's the girl who turned up at the end of Mr. McGilld's trial in the defendant's antechamber.
I've never met a lawyer from the Far East before. Poor you, having to get straight to work when you've only just arrived in London.
Oh, yes, it was challenging.
Well, try this tea. It's my special blend, you know.
Oh, thank you. Is tea supposed to look that color?
Oh my, what a fragrant yet mellow flavor. Hooray, it's a winner! I tried blending different leaves designed to alleviate fatigue, you see. You must be exhausted after your long voyage here, and you have another ticklish trial tomorrow. Oh, and you're to defend a Japanese man. I do wish you lots and lots of luck.
How do you know all this?
Did Mr. Sholmes tell you about us by any chance? Oh, you know Hurley, do you?
Hurley? Hurley? Mr. Sholmes? To you? Surely. Mr. Sholmes, to you, surely.
Mr. Sholmes is a fellow passenger on the boat that brought us to Great Britain, you see. Was he really? Well, I had no idea. I'm afraid Hurley's out on an errand again today, even though he just returned from overseas.
Wait a minute. We met this girl for the first time ever yesterday after the trial, and only briefly at that. How on earth does she know so much about us? Did she deduce all those things, do you think?
And perhaps more to the point, why is she here in Mr. Sholmes' suit?
I don't know.
Oh, silly me, I haven't introduced myself, have I?
What are you, his kid or something? I didn't know that Herlock Sholmes had a kid.
It's a great pleasure to meet you both. My name is Iris Wilson.
Oh. Great. Iris Wilson. Oh boy.
I live here together with Hurley.
Yeah, so about your dad. Ah, Iris is it? What a lovely name.
What?
What's the matter?
No, wait, this can't be. Did you say that your name is Wilson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Why is she so flustered all of a sudden? Dude, do you not remember the victim of the first case? You know, the one where you were the accused?
Yes, that's right. And what are your names?
Oh, I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a lawyer from Japan.
Oh, sorry. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Susato Mikotoba. It's wonderful to meet you. Lovely. Susie and Runo. Got it.
Susie? And Runo? There's more to this girl than meets the eye. Congratulations, Ryunosuke. You are now one of the top executives of... You're now one of the Turks from Shinra, I think. I think Runo was his name. I have so many questions for her, I don't know where to start.
Yes, and so do I.
Susato, can you please stop reading my mind? It's really getting on my nerves. Okay. Well, first off, madam, would you like to take a look at my arm badge? Iris, can I show you this?
Oh, how exciting! What is it? Tell me all about it.
Oh, actually, I was hoping you might be able to tell me something about it if anything comes to mind.
Why wouldn't?
Well, no, I suppose it wouldn't.
Tell me, I want to hear everything.
This hasn't gone according to plan. Keikaku dori janai. Iris Wilson. I like how they're two separate things. It was you that we ran into yesterday, wasn't it? At the Old Bailey.
Yes, that's right. You were ever so helpful. Thank you so much.
What happened to Gina? Did you kill her with that bazooka you had?
Oh no, not at all. I'm so sorry we couldn't have been more welcoming.
Though at the time we did have a rather large gun pointed at us. Oh god, she has it still.
Like this.
Ryunosuke just dies on the spot from shock.
Ah, thinking back now, you left with Mr.
You left with Mr. Lestrade in tow, didn't you? Sorry, I had a lisp on that. That was weird. Oh yes, that awkward witness, Gina Lestrade. Lestrade. Maybe I should...
Oh, Guinea? Yes, she's a professional pickpocket.
So we found out.
It was very naughty of her to pinch my invention like that.
Are you referring to that trial-disrupting gun-like contraption?
Exactly. So I followed her, you see, to get it back. Perhaps I should think about fitting a self-destruct mechanism in my inventions.
This girl's dangerous. Yeah, I think we kind of gathered that when she showed up in a court with a frickin' bazooka on her shoulder.
Anyway, I brought Ginny. I brought Ginny back here after that. So she can apologize to my trusty technician.
Sorry, you're a technician?
Hurley, of course, silly. Hurley? Yes, Herlock Sholmes. We live here together.
Oh. I had no idea the great detective had such an interesting young daughter.
Daughter? Not likely.
What?
I wouldn't call him Hurley if he was my father, would I?
Yeah. Man, Ryunosuke is really slow on the uptake here with the last name.
Well then, what is your relationship with Mr. Holmes? Well, I expect you found out that lodgings of any kind in London are very expensive. So the solution is to share the cost with a partner, a roommate.
I just realized her pose that she's doing, isn't that one of the similar to the pose that Herlock does whenever he like tips his hat? He like when he flicks his hat and points in a direction? If so, that's a real cute detail that they have similar animations. Your roommates?
I hope you don't mind me asking, Iris, but how old are you? 10 at last this year.
Well, what of your mother and father?
Oh no, they're not around.
Oh, I see. I wonder what the story is there. Yeah, I wonder, Ryunosuke, you frickin' dunderhead. Good lord. Talk about the last name, for God's sake.
Oh yes, there's something I must ask you. Of course. Go ahead, Susie. I am a very great fan of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes and... Oh, you have a copy of Rance magazine. Yes, I read every issue. It's delivered all the way to Japan on a ship. Oh, this is so exciting. My stories are being read on the other side of the world.
My stories?
That's right. Hurley is always solving such amazing cases, you see, and he tells me all about them. They really are quite fascinating. I'm really stumbling my words today for some reason. It would be such a shame if I was the only one who had ever heard them, don't you think? Goodness! Last night, he was telling me all about a new case he just solved on a steamship traveling from a faraway land. So I was just in the middle of typing up the manuscript for the next issue before you came. So you are the author? Yes, I'll let you in on a secret if you like. I'm gonna call the latest adventure The Speckled Band.
Oh boy. The Speckled Band? That's certainly very familiar. Oh, so you piece that together, but not the name of this girl in front of you. Granted, I guess the Speckled Band incident is more recent.
Of course, I always change one or two details in the stories here and there. This time, I had the idea of making a venomous snake be the cause of all the trouble.
Oh, that was Mr. Sholmes' first thought as well, actually.
Yes, and of course I know that a snake might not be a credible fit for the facts of the case exactly, but... It's a story. Some poetic license is justified to make it more thrilling, I think, don't you? So, do you mean to say... Are the stories about Mr. Sholmes that are published in Rance magazine all written by me? Yes, on my wonderful and very modern typewriter. But all the stories I've ever read are written by a doctor of medicine, by John H. Wilson.
Susato-san's getting more and more worked up.
Ah, yes, that's me. I mean, my name really is Wilson. But what about the doctor of medicine part? That's all true too, I am a doctor of medicine.
No, at 10 years old.
At 10 years old.
Well, that's quite incredible. And also extremely unlikely. Then again, it's a game.
But... Dr. Wilson is an English gentleman. Ah, yes. I did alter the setting slightly for the stories to be more compelling. Oh. Well, it sounds a little strange, doesn't it? A great detective with a 10-year-old girl in tow. I suppose it does, yes.
Are we sure she's telling the truth on this, considering, you know, the person named Wilson that died in the first case? Are you sure she isn't covering up for the fact of his, like, I don't know why she would, but I feel like there's got to be a reason that the victim in the first case was her father. Like, there's got to be a legitimate reason for that. Poor Susato-san. She looks like her whole world is just falling apart. Oh boy. Okay, so what about your deduction rate a few minutes ago? About before.
Yes, yes, what's on your mind, Bruno? Do tell me.
How did you know that I was a lawyer and we just arrived in London, I mean?
Yes. Oh, and that we have a difficult trial tomorrow. How did you know all that? Oh, that's what you mean. Please, tell us how you did it. Explain every detail. Of course, I'd be delighted, although there's really no mystery. Now, let's begin.
Well, hi there.
Iris Wilson is proud to present her logic and reasoning spectacular.
You stole that from a certain someone else. Whoa.
First of all, I knew already that you were a lawyer, Bruno. After all, I met you yesterday at the Old Bailey in the defendant's antechamber.
But you also said that we'd only just arrived in London. How did you know that? I like the fact that it's weird seeing Rion. Well, actually no, we see Ryunosuke during this type of stuff in case 2. But this is like a new way of seeing him, a new perspective, I guess.
I observed a passport and travel ticket protruding from your breast pocket.
Breast.
Oh. So I was reasonably confident that you must have just arrived in the country. And on top of that, you accepted a case against that particular prosecutor, telling me you were unaware of London's court affairs.
The Reaper of the Bailey? I walked right into that one, didn't I?
Then I noticed a red ink stamp on the back of Susie's hand. You were given that when you visited the local prison to meet with the suspect, weren't you? Earlier today? Ah!
Was that always there? And I just never saw it until now?
They use those stamps to keep a close eye on comings and goings, you see. I didn't realize. And a red stamp is only used for people visiting foreign inmates. So, that told me that even though you had only yesterday concluded the trial of Magnus McGilded, the two of you had already had cause to visit a foreign inmate at a local prison. However, neither of you was wearing a particularly sad expression on your face, so I concluded the prisoner was unlikely to be a friend or a relative. That led me to believe that you must have accepted a new case.
I see.
But how could you have known that the trial was tomorrow? Well, having barely been home a few hours yesterday, Hurley solved yet another case. It obviously amused him. He told me that he'd caught a Japanese man who was bawling and trembling.
And he would laugh all the while. It's a very Sholmes type thing to do, to just laugh at a person in misfortune. A Japanese man? Well, clearly that must have been Soseki.
Mr. Natsume! Now, Runo has that fancy Japanese sword. And I think your outfit is called a kimono, isn't it, Susie? Well, anyway, it was clear to me that you both come from Japan yourselves. So I put 2 and 2 together and decided you must be defending the Japanese man Hurley caught. And there was only one conclusion those facts could lead me to. You both came here to ask Hurley about the case. There's a note on the mantelpiece that says the man's trial will be tomorrow. Hurley is always stabbing his notes with a knife, you know, he is silly.
So that's why that was there. I realized at the end of last episode. Good lord.
And that's all there was to it, really. Thank you for listening. I'm Iris Wilson, and that was one of my great deductions.
I am speechless. Well, damn. I guess there's two of them capable of it. I mean, then again, if you spend enough time with that frickin' nut job, you'll probably learn a thing or two from him. Be it for good or worse.
Well, was it a winner? Were my deductions correct?
They were spot on.
That was amazing, Iris. Truly a great deduction.
Yeah, you do better than the actual great detective on it. Because he would get one thing right and then get one thing wrong. Whereas you just kind of got everything right. You even managed the certain something of Mr. Sholm's delivery.
Oh well, I was just copying Hurley's style for that. This is really very good news. You could tell us all about the case involving the Japanese man. You will, won't you, Iris? Please?
Case of the Japanese man, Soseki Natsume. So yesterday, Mr. Sholmes apprehended a Japanese man, you were saying?
Yes. Hurley had just arrived back in London after a sea voyage.
Yep, we know that.
But the police were waiting for him at the railway station to take him directly to the crime scene.
Ah, the great detective is a popular man, it seems.
Apparently a woman was stabbed on a quiet street somewhere in town. There were witnesses who had seen a short, shifty-looking, stooped man running away from the scene. A short, shifty-looking, stooped man.
That descriptive term. That certainly sums him up well. Mr. Natsume, beyond any doubt. Sosuke-san said that he didn't see anybody else on the street at all. But it seems there were witnesses after all.
Hurley uses great deductive powers to determine the man's address.
Sorry, something about that message just really it makes me laugh.
He found his address by looking on the three... He threatened a man that knows him or something. I don't know.
I don't have a good joke here. It's just funny to me. He frickin'... Like, how do you get doxxed back in a time like this?
It was a lodging room very nearby. He went directly there with the police, and what did they find? A short, shifty-looking, stooped man shivering in fear.
Mr. Sholmes' great deduction certainly hit the mark that time.
Of course it did. He's a great detective.
Susato, you are blind with no, what's the word? You have sparkly eyes and you are blinded by it. I guess I'll just say that. Still, that means the incident occurred only 2 days ago. Surely tomorrow is too soon for the trial, isn't it? Well, considering what the inspector said, they probably think it's already done and dusted.
Definitely, we have no time to investigate properly. Hurley says that London is rife with crime.
Oh.
Scotland Yard is doing its best, but they can't stay on top of it, apparently. Oh dear, I hadn't realized the situation was so dire. That's why they can't afford to spend too much time investigating cases and trying the criminals in court. Staff and money are both short. Crimes are usually pinned on the first suspicious person. That's terrible. I suppose it's the harsh reality of the workings of the world's greatest justice system.
I suppose it is, but in that case, I don't hold out much hope for Soseki-san. I don't think he has too much hope for himself. That man feels like he's on the verge of breaking down. Thank you for answering so many of our questions, Iris. This has been very informative.
Oh, you're most welcome. I've had so much fun.
Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is at the moment? As you guessed, we'd like to ask him some questions about this case as well.
Ah, well. I expect Hurley is still investigating the scene.
Yeah, maybe he's at Soseki's place? Of the case involving Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, Mr. Nuts... Oh, May... Hurley said he was going to the man's lodgings.
Yeah, as I thought.
If you leave now, you'll probably catch him there. Iris, do you know where those lodgings are? Well, I imagine the police are still investigating the scene of the crimes themselves, aren't they? Did you happen to come across a detective by the name of Gregson when you were there?
Yes, we know Inspector Gregson.
Ah, goody. In that case... Give Gregsy this from me, would you? If you do that, I'm sure he'll tell you what you want to know.
What is this?
A 5-shilling piece and a postcard, it seems.
Iris's postcard has been entered into the court record. Huh.
It reads, "Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem." Gosh, this will make the inspector help us, will it?
Well, thank you, Iris. We'll give it a try.
Good luck, then. I'm going to return to writing my manuscript, The Speckled Band. And I'll be making more special blends of tea, so come back again soon. We'd be delighted. Thank you so much, Iris. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, it's back to the scene of the crime.
That it is. So, somewhat dubious that they would exert any influence over the men of Scotland Yard at all. We headed back to the scene with Iris's curious note and one of the world's heaviest silver coins in hand. Oh, so it's just randomness there? No, it's not. To be continued. Okay. Well, we're not done here, that's for sure. You know what I just realized? That I'm surprised that neither Susato or Ryunosuke commented on? Is the fact that because she's writing a story on the tale of the Speckled Band, they didn't comment on the fact that they're probably going to end up being... I mean, they were, like, both key factors in that case. Like, you know that means they're going to be big... That they're going to be, like, big characters in one of the stories of Herlock Sholmes, and neither of them seem to even mention it. Alright, let's go straight into part 2, shall we? "2:38 p.m. Briar Road, yet again. Oh, Gregson. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation."
Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible.
Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him, excuse me. Oh shoot, we haven't even looked at stuff here. Look at this man's portrait. My man got a real thin and tall head. Stern and single-minded in his approach, and a great lover of fish and chips. God, he's even sweating in his portrait. Oh, and now we have 5 people in here. Oh, right, the reason I'm here is to actually read this. Oh, it's just that, and then with a large-ass coin on the front. I'm curious what it says.
This is a 5-shilling piece, isn't it? I believe it's called a crown.
Yes, and you can train a Scotland Yard detective to do whatever you want with just a single one.
Iris must be the most powerful 10-year-old in the world.
Yeah, probably. How much is 5 shillings, by the way? What's it really worth?
Well, it's probably enough to buy all the chips the inspector could possibly eat in a whole month.
That's greasy. Greasy. Alright. Where is he? Guess we just gotta present it. Take this. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give that here at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Yeah, don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's, well, it's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
Oh my god. That's right, for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me every time. So she pays him in order to have him in the stories. No wonder he puts up with it.
Yes, yes, of course. I knew all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course. Her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. Money's money.
I am sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never mind you that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustache Japanese fellow. He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there, look. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. Man, we really had to get...
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garrideb. Right, well... If I see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, so you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector, we will.
Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship.
Bye, Gregson. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before we left.
Yes. So then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings?
Definitely.
Alright. New location. Location number 5. Man, we're already at more areas than we ever had in the second case. Let's see what this place looks like, shall we? Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Wow, this place looks really damn fancy. Are we sure this is his place? A maid. May I help you? Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. Oh. Oh, okay. This isn't his actual lodgings. This is the owner of the place. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garrideb?
Indeed it would, sir. In whom may I say is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Sosuke Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask you some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garrideb.
Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was a real-life English maid.
I know, as I understand it, anyone of standing in England, in English society, employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better.
Certainly feels like we're finally, like we've really arrived now, doesn't it?
We need only to meet a butler and the experience will be complete.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now, this way.
Whoa. Freaking crescent moon over here. I want to examine stuff first. What's this? Oh. Nothing. Nothing there.
Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely.
Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder?
I'm gonna have a very quick look. Just a little peek.
Maybe let's not, Missy Sato. I think the maid is gonna head us off with a cup of tea.
Oh, dearie me.
What's this?
Oh, look. What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand.
Lined up? It looks more like someone has half demolished them to me. Stop, they're off screen. Why would the game let me examine them if they're off screen?
Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It's quite the English way.
Man, this voice is gonna get tiring fast, I can tell.
It is Mr. Garridub's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful.
Oh, wait a minute, though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand.
Well, naturally. And it would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garridub doesn't eat, I eat myself. I just had a voice crack. Joanne, you shall have to tidy up.
How magnanimous of you. What do they even look like? Oh, yeah, that'll do it. What's this? Look at this crockery in display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it?
Oh my, a genuine London dresser. Isn't it delightful?
It certainly looks unique.
Although the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces.
It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice. Yo, it kinda cracked, though.
Ah, I wonder.
Have we seen her do this pose before? It feels new. It's very cute, as always, from Susato. Expected at this point.
Perhaps the cannon was fired at it.
I mean, that would do it, but I think it would also put a hole in the wall. Yes, probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here. Okay, anything else? Oh, the window. To the window!
This window looks over Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked.
Oh yes, I can make out the police on the far side of the road investigating the crime scene.
The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly.
Is this thing open at all, I wonder?
I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir.
Sorry?
As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you. Oh, this hurts.
Seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything on the incident, then. Is that a portrait of this dude? Looks like it. That portrait of Mr. Garridub is glaring at me, I swear. No matter where I walk in the room, it always follows me. It always follows me with its gaze.
Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garridub as well?
Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well. Oh, I'm finally getting to voice this dude. Oh yes, seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket.
Seemed to come back? What do you mean?
The chap who runs the place is a body wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need.
The lion ornament certainly does seem surplus to requirements.
Sato-san doesn't pull her punches, or her throws for that matter. Definitely not the throws. What is that, a medal?
That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner.
Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say, although it bothers me that it's not straight. What, that old thing?
Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it, keeps the bally thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose. There appears to be an inscription on the metal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, for distinguishing participation.
Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. Huh. Oh, never mind. Nope, still want to examine. He has a cane. Did he get like injured in war and now he can't walk? Wouldn't be too surprised if that was the case.
That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though.
That old thing? Huh, not much better than rags, really.
Oh?
Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past me. Would have thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have that odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? Also, why are you stirring a teacup with a pipe? That seems unsanitary and gross.
Oh, I see.
Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. Okay, but what else can I examine? Can I examine the sword? No. Looks like... What about the books? I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading? Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book.
Oh, there's a copy of Rance magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, too.
The created detective has a great many followers, it would seem. And what else we got? I think it's just the people themselves and this cannon. That's a full-size cannon. What's it doing in here?
Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica.
That old thing? Bah, that's little more than a toy. You've said that for three He seems to not like to talk about army-related stuff, but is also seems very bragging and boasting about it by hanging them out in the open. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy.
Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb?
Always is. Take Joanne here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joanne tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. You know, I hope that this getting ruined by the cannon comes up later. Like, I want it to be part of the main story that this ends up getting shot at this. You wanna know why? Because I want to see it become canon. That was a long setup for the joke, but I don't care. Good day to you, John Garrideb at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs.
You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo.
Do you think so? I was just trying to make the fan feel better.
Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly display it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joanne? Let these people see it properly. Joanne, fetch the... Oh! Dash it all, woman. Be careful. She just spilled hot tea all over this man. Poor dude.
Oh, dearie me, I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, well, we'd be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Sorry, it took my brain a second to download that message.
Only too pleased, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blighty. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective poking around. You know, in this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business. And yet you have a copy of Rant's magazine.
Oh, but you have a copy of
God damn it. Okay, apparently I've gone from being Ryunosuke to being Susato. No.
Anyway, the chap's investigating the fool in his room as we speak.
So he's in Soseki-san's room. It's a bully nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss, it's jolly unsettling. Alright. Well, we'll talk to Mr. Garrideb and Joanne the maid. Next time on Great Ace Attorney. Very interesting to see what happens here. Adios, ciao, and bye. Signing off until the next one. Ja, mata ne.